Welcome, future Spartans. I am Dr. Brett Carter, and I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor and Dean of Students here at UNCG. My job gives me the opportunity to work with our student body every single day, and I can tell you, I am consistently inspired by them. Spartans are driven, Spartans are leaders, and Spartans generally care about each other. Now, before I hand you off to tonight's panel, I want to touch base on an important point that I just talked about, and that is creating a culture of care. You see, here at UNCG, our faculty and staff are committed to making sure you have the right tools and resources to help you be successful and able to achieve your academic goals. Beyond all this, the great thing about being a part of such a close-knit campus community is that it means you get the opportunity to move past superficial and drive right to building relationships and having fun. So there's a lot going on here at UNC Greensboro, and I am so glad that you're here today with us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, or maybe good evening. It is a pleasure for us to be able to join together today to talk about the residential colleges here at UNC Greensboro. My name is Trey. I am an admissions counselor here at the Office of Admissions at UNCG. And if you have any questions for us today, I encourage you to please send us a text so that way we can answer your questions about our residential colleges. I will go ahead and introduce our panel, who is a panel of experts joining us today. And let's start in the square right beside me. So that is Dr. Sarah Littlejohn. Sarah, tell us who you are and what you do here at UNCG.
Hey there, no mystery, but I am Dr. Sarah Littlejohn, since that says on my little name thing and you can see it, and Trey already introduced me. I run and direct Ashby Residential College and Strong Residential College, and I teach English and writing and research. And I have been doing this as the RC directors for those two RCs for about 5 or 6, I guess 6 years now.
Very nice. All right, thank you. And Professor John Sopper, tell us who you are and what you do here at UNCG.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for your interest in UNC Greensboro. Again, my name is John Sopper. I am the director for Grogan Residential College. I also teach in religious studies at UNCG. And have been involved in the residential colleges for quite a long time, more than 2 decades. So I look forward to answering any questions I can for you.
Fantastic, thank you. And we are joined, of course, by some student experts, and they are all here to help us out. So Jasmine, tell us who you are, what you're studying, and which residential college you are a part of.
Hi, as you can tell, my name is Jasmine Rivera. I'm studying currently dual major of elementary and special education, and I am a part of Strong Residential College. I love it there. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jasmine. Alrighty, Bethany, tell us who you are, what you do here, and which residential college you are in.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bethany, and I'm a sophomore here at UNCG. I'm a peer academic leader and a Spartan guide here on campus, and I'm an orientation leader in the Ashby Residential College program.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bethany. All right, Marcus, last but certainly not least, tell us who you are and which school you're in.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? My name is Marcus Keith. I am a communications major here at UNCG. I stay in Grogan, and this is my second year, and I am a community ambassador here, which is short for CA, and also a teacher's assistant.
Fantastic. All right. Well, friends, if you have any questions, I invite you to please text us, and you can see the texting number at the bottom of your screen, and you can also find that number below the video player here on the admissions website. Also, after the stream today, if you are interested in getting a little bit more information about UNC Greensboro in general, or specifically the residential colleges, you can fill out something called a custom view book. That custom view book is there to help you figure out where you want to go at UNCG. So you can get customizable information about specific majors, specific programs, and extracurricular items as well. So let's head on into the actual show. Dr. Littlejohn, tell us what you've got for us about residential colleges.
Well, I guess I would start with, a lot of people have questions about what a residential college is. I know when we do these live tours, I always kind of stop people on college app and say, hey, are you interested in looking at one of our programs? And they say, well, what are those? And I say, well, I'm glad you asked. I like to think of the residential college as a little college inside a big university. So we are a program of our two programs are about 120 students each. I think Grogan is probably comparable, maybe 200 and 250 maybe total. John, you can help me correct that, but we are small communities where you have classes inside the dorm. You get to know your peers because you take classes with your peers who live with you. You get to know your faculty because we have offices in the dorm. Some of our faculty live in the dorm. Oh, I'm sorry, residence hall. Sorry, Trey. Residence hall. And you end up becoming a very familiar, and you have good productive relationships with these people that can help you later in life. I have written many, many recommendation letters for students going on to get scholarships and graduate school or jobs for any kind of opportunities that they have, because we get to know them so well. It's real easy to write a letter if you know somebody for 2 years that you've taken classes with and you see them every day. Like I said, Trey is an alum, whether he's told you or not, of Ashby College. And so he knows the experience well. And I think he has probably experienced that pretty easily, right? And all those experiences with faculty come back and are helpful to you. So if you are first year and you're ready to come into school and you want to be part of something smaller, let's say one of 120 students instead of one of 2,500 students, this is a great place for you. We have a lot of co-curricular events that help you get to know people fast. And that's regardless of what's going on with our environment, right? Whether it's COVID or not COVID, we still have things that help people feel connected. Maybe it's even more important now. So you won't feel like you're on your own. You'll get to be a part of something meaningful and something that's long lasting. These are groups of people that continue to be friends.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Sarah. Dr. Littlejohn, sorry. I am in the old ways of...
You graduated, Trey. You can call me Sarah.
Maybe. But I'm grateful that I know you, and I'm grateful that I know all of our panelists here today, because one of those recommendation letters just happens to be sitting in my Google Drive, so I am certainly grateful for it. I will ask let's see, what's our next question? Oh, there it is. So I will ask Professor Stopper if you could please explain to us how being in a residential college is different from some of the other first-year experiences on campus.
Well, thank you, Trey. I think Dr. Littlejohn touched on one of the most important components of it, which is that you are in a small community where you take classes with folks that you know because you also live with them and you engage with them in a lot of activities outside of class as well. I think one of the most important things about the residential colleges in terms of how it might be different from other first-year experiences is that it really weaves together both the curricular experience, the courses that you need to take in order to pursue and complete your degree at UNCG, particularly in your general education area, with all kinds of outside of class interactions and ways of learning beyond the classroom. So you have faculty who are engaged with you in ways, I think, for first year students, as Dr. Littlejohn suggested, you get to meet faculty very early on in your career who get to know you in a much more complete and well-rounded way. And you get to interact with other students and make friends with them. So in terms of the first year experience, I think it's probably one of the best ways, in my opinion, to really plant your foot in college, figure out what you want to do with it, how it relates to what you care about, and you can meet the people who are going to help you move forward.
Fantastic. Thank you. That is really, really helpful. And you definitely do meet many amazing people throughout your time in an RC. I'll just abbreviate RC. I do want to hear from our students, and we can go kind of opposite to the way that we introduce ourselves. So I'll start with Marcus, then go Bethany, and then go Jasmine. It's specific to your residential colleges. So for Marcus, for you, that would be Grogan. What is it like living in that residence hall where you take classes within your residence hall?
For me personally with Grogan, I have developed some amazing relationships with people, and I'm really big on making memories with people, whether that's with faculty and staff or fellow students. So I have developed lifelong friendships and with people that I can see myself doing big projects in the future with, just by starting out in those classes in Grogan. So and these classes that we take in these residential colleges are classes that you won't find in the majority of UNCG. You won't find these classes that you take here. They're very unique in a way. Even though they, aside from them fulfilling different markets and things like that you'll learn about when you come here, just the interesting names and the interesting theories and things that you go through, they really cause you to connect with people. And the fact that you have these people living with you is such an amazing thing, that you can just go up to their room, have a relation, have conversation with them about something in the class, outside of class, as where if you were in not if you were not in a residential college, it would be a little bit harder, especially in these times. But having the accessibility and those memories and those friendships and those very, very crucial relationships as a freshman really, really helped me a lot in Grogan.
Fantastic. Thank you. Bethany, for yourself, I know we both lived in Ashby. So what is it like living in Ashby Residential College where, like Dr. Littlejohn said, you just get to know people?
Yeah, you definitely do get to know people. One of my favorite things about living in the residential college program is every time I walk down the stairs, I see a familiar face. I don't think there's a single person in the dorm that I don't know. And so it can really make it feel like home and really cozy. It's also great because like Dr. Sopper said, with the small class sizes, it's also helpful because if you ever need a friend to go to study with, or if you need a friend to help you with some homework, they're right next door. So it's really convenient, all of it is. I also love the faculty interactions that we have. I feel so close with Dr. Littlejohn and Dr. Dotson, and I feel really comfortable with them, and I know that I could come to them with any problems or issues that I come into face with. So it's just like a really fun little community, and it feels really comfortable. So, yeah.
Very nice. One funny story about Dr. Dotson, I, at one time or another, found myself wrapped in a bathrobe, unable to access my room. And then I just went and knocked on Will's door and I said, "Will, let me in." But anyway, Jasmine, I will ask you, you live in Strong Residential College. So what is it like living there where specifically for Strong, you have the emphasis on most of your classes in sustainability and environmental studies?
Oh yeah, I love it so much. Being here, well, now that I'm stuck here at home, I get to practice sustainability as the basics like composting or just simple gardening in the backyard. Like we expanded our garden this past year, and it's really nice to be able to work with people who have some of the same values, especially about sustainability, because it's not something that people usually take into consideration when they first think of, oh, am I flushing the toilet? What am I going to do? Although there are more sustainable options, I would prefer to flush the toilet than having a compostable toilet.
Very good. That is something to think about for sure. So for our professors on the call, let's start with Dr. Littlejohn and then we'll go over to Professor Sopper. What is it like working in a residential college where you work in the same building as students are living?
I love it. One of the biggest transitions with COVID is that we have to keep our doors closed more often. And that is very sad to me. Or we're sort of everybody's, and I'm not unique in this respect, all of the students too are also in their rooms in different ways. So even though we see people in the hall, like Bethany said, or walking down the street, sometimes you're like, well, who's behind that mask? And sometimes that's a little bit tricky because you're so used to having access to everybody. And that part's wonderful. And we still have access, but it's just, there's that one more layer like we're all experiencing with the mask. But I absolutely love it because you're right there. You're absolutely in the thick of things. And what is, I don't know, you've probably experienced this when you go to visit family and you have a big event, let's say it's Thanksgiving or something, but the times that you really get to talk to the people, your relatives, are the times like over coffee in the morning, or what I call the interstitial spaces, the spaces in between the big events. And so with working in the residential college in the building, it's those little in-between spaces that I think are the best because we have class and that's awesome. We have events and those are awesome. But then you're standing in the hallway and Bethany walks by and you're like, hey, what do you think about this? Can you do this? What do you think? Yeah, that was, I saw your video. Or, I see Jasmine at tea and it's like, oh yeah, this was good. And I'm cooking tonight. I got all these tomatoes. So it's all those in-between spaces that are my favorite thing about being part of residential college.
Fantastic. John, how about yourself?
Well, agree with everything that Dr. Littlejohn mentioned. The other thing I'll add to that is for a lot of us who work in the residential colleges, the relationships that we have with students make us better teachers. We get to see students in multi-dimensions of their lives. So we're much better positioned, I think, to take what we do and to connect it and to personalize it to the students' individual journeys. The other thing I'll mention is if you work in the residential college, you very quickly become very knowledgeable about every aspect of the university. We are in communication with every part of UNCG. So it helps, I think, as someone who teaches and who works at a university to be in a residential college, because you get to see how the whole university works. And that helps you to be able to get students to where they need to be and to connect up with the things that are going to help them most. And I think everybody at UNCG does a great job, but I think it's a unique situation where because it's a little college within the university, we are interacting with every aspect of what UNCG has to offer.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It's a little college within a big university, so that's the perfect way of describing it. I do want to ask our students, and Jasmine, we kind of talked about this just a minute ago, but Strong Residential College focuses in on sustainability. Can you give us an idea of what some of the classes are like within the residential college, specifically with sustainability, I guess?
So for the classes that I have taken so far, it's been like Dr. Dodson's zombie class, or Miss Barton's. Right now I'm taking her European history class. Although we're not focusing specifically on sustainability, we still touch on those topics and try to relate to it. A little joke, zombies are compostable. They're basically like walking compost. So I mean, if you see the apocalypse, you'd be like, yay, sustainability. No, I'm just kidding. But in general, we pay more attention to the little things, I guess you could say. History behind it all, like for zombies, I really like that class, but we talked about how it started out as resemblance of slavery in the movies, and it now has developed to gore and humor, and how it really shapes the society. So in general, I haven't taken any sustainability classes, but there are plenty of clubs and activities to where your professors want you to participate in that have to deal with sustainability.
Can I just jump in there a little bit and add to what Jasmine said?
Go for it.
Is that she's right. The classes themselves aren't necessarily about sustainability any more than like they are in Ashby about contemporary and media literacies. We don't necessarily teach you those things, but all of the classes look at the material that you're taking, like a history class or a zombie class, with the idea that it's connected to something larger. So in this case, in the sustainability case, we think about, let's say, if the origins of zombies are in slavery, then, or European history now, you're probably looking at issues of imperialism and, you know, how history got us to where we are now. So we're looking at, okay, what kinds of things in the world are worth sustaining and what kinds of things aren't worth sustaining. So UNCG's idea of sustainability is a lot more about, it's not just about recycling, right? So it's about maintaining the things that we value and need and want, and not maintaining the things that don't work. So sustainability is a much broader concept, and that's the kind of angle and thought that we use for all of our courses. And the same thing goes with Ashby. I'm going to jump on Trey's little thread here. So I bet Bethany has something to add to that.
Well, you beat me to it. Yeah, Bethany, what's it like living in Ashby and taking the classes in this kind of idea that Dr. Littlejohn said of contemporary and media literacies?
Yeah, Dr. Littlejohn really hit it on the nail. It's kind of like all of our classes have a bigger meaning to them. I'm currently in an ethics for post-millennials class, and we're talking about all the social issues from the past and present. And so that really gets you thinking about what's going on in the world and what you can do to change it. I was also in a class last year called The Web is Dark and Full of Memes, which is a fun little class about like memetics. And you don't really think about like jokes and comedy about like being serious, but there's a science to it, and so it really like gets you thinking deeper and deeper. I'm also taking a class next semester actually that's about sports inclusion and diversity, and some of the things that people of color face that are athletes. And so you really think about so many different aspects, and it really gets you thinking about what you can do to change. So it's wonderful. I love taking classes there.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Marcus, for yourself, Grogan is probably the residential college that I know the least about, although I kind of know what it is about. So give us an idea of what classes are like in Grogan RC.
The biggest takeaway that I really, really enjoy and appreciate about the Grogan courses is the fact that each class makes you think about not just life, but yourself. One of my absolute favorite classes that I'm being a teacher assistant for this semester is called Ethics and Imagination, and it basically explores the different philosophers and different things like virtues and morals and things of that nature. And it's not just something that is simple for the class. It's not just something that pertains to the class, but these are things and traits that we are able to apply in each and every class that we have, whether that's designated for our major or just an elective that we're taking. These are things that we can carry on outside of education into our different lives, into our jobs, into the career paths that we want, different projects that we want to do. These are really life lessons that we learn in these classes. And it's amazing how the professors here, they can intertwine those valuable life lessons into classes and make it fun, because too many people, well, not too many people, but a lot of people tend to have this notion that these college classes are all boring. You don't really learn, you learn things just for the sake of a job. And the classes that we have in these colleges, especially with Grogan, because I live here, I know this, they break those things down. They make you think out of the norms, and make you challenge those thoughts, like, why is this normal? Why have I been conditioned this way? What can I do to unlearn those behaviors, and what are things that I can learn to prevent that from happening again?
Marcus, you mentioned something that it might be useful at this point to kind of elaborate on. You mentioned a couple of times being a teaching intern. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that involves and what you've gained from that?
Yes. So being a teaching assistant, really, it's really an amazing opportunity. I encourage all of you to do it. So my freshman year, I took the class Ethics and Imagination, and I just fell in love with the class. I couldn't stop talking about it with like my family and friends, stuff like that. And I, like everyone said, you get that really close relationship with faculty. So I contacted the professor, and I was like, hey, has anybody said anything about being a teacher's assistant? Has anybody said anything about it? And we worked it out, and here I am. And it's just an amazing opportunity to see that level of how professors work. And, it just goes beyond marking attendance. It goes beyond, leading class discussions. You really get to share your experience with freshmen and other people that are taking the class because you were in their shoes. So you're being that stepping stone for them, so they can carry on with their education and whatever that may be. And that's very important, especially in this time, especially during COVID times, because we need that motivation. We need that that helping hand, that nudge to continue us and going into filling and creating and achieving the goals that we have. So you're being that stepping stone, using your experience to make a better experience for them.
Thanks, Marcus. This, I think, illustrates one of the things about the residential colleges that's important for, I think, us to talk about, which is the opportunities students have in those programs to develop leadership skills and to really become part of the program. They help the program to happen. So I think maybe we would talk about some of the other roles that happen in the residential colleges where students lead the show.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm assuming that everything is still the same as it was when I was there, but I think there's still committees. Is that right?
Yeah, there are. But it's funny. I think Professor Sopper's right. And I say this to students every year, and you're probably tired of hearing me say it, y'all. But The program changes a little bit each year because the students make the program, right? So we have an infrastructure in place and we have projects and committees like you're talking about and events, but the students always put their own mark on it because for one year, the literary magazine is more important. The next year, tea is more important or game night is more important. Well, game night seems to always be important, but really each group has its own kind of personality, if you will. And so students pick up the threads of the parts of the leadership, like Professor Stopper saying, to make it what they want. And one of the principles of the residential college is student self-governance. What is it that the students want to do to make their world better? And we see that a lot with, especially now where I see all kinds of new committees popping up on the list. I was like, man, you guys are on fire, sort of addressing needs that are different and new. I was like, okay, this is, sometimes I think, oh, COVID, well, it's a sad year, but you know what? It's an amazing year, what students have been able to do. So it is really about leadership opportunity, and they've taken the lead. So that's good. Good for them. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have more to add on that front.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hear from him or from our students. I just want to say, please tell me cooking committee still exists.
We're not allowed to cook. We can't cook right now.
Oh,
we don't have any, there's not even a pot or a pan in the kitchen because we're not allowed to do anything that would share germs. So it's on pause. It's not gone.
Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better. But yeah, either Jasmine or Bethany, anything y'all want to add to it?
For me personally, I was given the opportunity to be the co-chair. Well, for one thing, that I would like to point out for committees, it's usually better to do it with a partner. So there's no one leader who does it all by themselves. You usually do it as with a partner. And usually I prefer to treat my partner as equally as I. So if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I want to do a collab with you, I'd be like, all right, we're gonna have to wait until my partner is ready to have this meeting because their opinion is just as important as mine. And also, it's so much fun getting to work with all the other students with these fun, interesting collabs. Like gaming committee is still waiting to do a collab with T. And it's just such an amazing environment that you get to partake in, like working with each other and having groups where you can just vent. That's basically what T has become because of Zoom calls. But usually it's a place to do homework, talk with friends, kind of chill. It's supposed to be a very peaceful environment. And that's what I love so much about, well, one of the things I love so much about Strong.
Very nice. Bethany, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I think my outlook's kind of changed a little bit this year with everything being so different. I was the co-chair of Haunted House this year for Ashby, so obviously that had to go a little bit differently because of COVID, and it's made me so much more proud to be in Ashby because it's just with everything that's going on right now, it's extremely difficult to do these things, and watching everyone come together and do them anyways is just like inspiring. So.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We do have a question here from one of our viewers, and they are wondering, what is the difference between a residential college and a living and learning community? So any of our panel could hop in.
I might have 2 cents to say on this. A living learning community is often organized around similar interests, let's say. So you might have all of your majors of a similar kind, or maybe you're interested in foreign languages, or maybe you're interested in traveling. There might be a certain organizing idea that would inform its members, and the members would maybe have a lot more obvious things in common. The RCs in particular are an incredibly diverse community because we have all majors from all parts of the college. So in some ways it's much better if they're all very different because then we have that much more sort of fodder to make it come together and work well. So one of the biggest differences is that, like I said, that's not just one set of majors or ideas or kinds of people. It's all kinds of people coming together to contribute to the community. I know you guys have more to add than that. So what else? Tell us some more differences.
Well, I think that might be it. Maybe. Bethany, you got anything?
Yeah. So for me, I've met so many different people at Ashby because I was kind of with us focusing on contemporary media literacies and social justice. I was expecting for Ashby to kind of be a little bit more uniform, but coming in and looking at all the different types of people, we have gamers, we have like all these different people that just all happen to get along with one another and accept one another's differences. So I think that you really hit that on the nail, and I love how diverse our communities are.
Fantastic. Thank you all. We do have a question here from a viewer asking, is it difficult to get into a residential college, and what is the application process like?
I'll take a stab at that. The residential college is at UNCG. There is an application process that's part of your application to UNCG. You'll have an opportunity to answer a separate set of questions that are related to your interest in a residential college. But I think it's important to emphasize that the residential colleges at UNC Greensboro they're not based upon GPA. It's not an honors program in that sense. So there's no set GPA. There's no set sort of background you have to bring from high school to be part of a residential college. What I think really makes the residential colleges work, and so what we are looking for when we read applications and when we read the little essays that students write on their applications, what we're looking for is that it's a good fit. Is it something that a student sees a benefit in, that they will benefit from? And is it something that they really want to do? And can we really work with the student to give them a really high quality and personalized experience? So I wouldn't say it's difficult to get in to a residential college at UNCG. I would say that, but I think you want to think about it and understand what it is that you're looking for, understand what it is that the residential college offers to you. And we are looking, and so you should be looking for a good fit between what we do and what we are, and what you want college to be for you. When that fits there, it's a fantastic thing to do. I'm welcome others would like to add to that.
I would just add too that when we read applications, what we're looking for are students that really want to be there. So I don't want it. If you want to do something else in your life, have at it 100%. Do your thing. There's no wrong answer in terms of how these ways to go through college or where you want to live or which community you want to be a part of. But what we really like are people who really want to be here, because if you really want to be here, then we know that that community will thrive and grow, because we count on students and the energy that they bring to make it what it is, like we were saying. So we want students who want to be here. That's the biggest thing we look for in applications.
Fantastic. Yeah. And from an admissions perspective, I can give our viewers just a little bit of an insight on how that application process works. So whenever you create your Spartan link to apply to UNCG, or if you are applying on Common App or CFNC or some other way, you will be prompted to choose between living in a residential college or not. And a lot of our students think, well, if I say, yes, I want to live in a residential college, that means that I'm just applying to live on campus in general, which there is a difference. So we included the RC application on the general application because it is a little bit more specialized. So if you want to live on campus in general, not definitely or specifically in a residential college, then you can choose no for that, or you can still fill out the application to live in a residential college. I absolutely recommend it. But if you are certain that you want to live in an RC, then definitely check yes on that part of the application.
I think too, even if you check yes and you fill it out and you submit it and you change your mind, no problem. But even if you change your mind later and want to go back and say yes, you can fill it out later.
Definitely. Alrighty, so one of our transfer students is asking us a question. Are residential colleges only available to first-year students?
Well, not really, but kind of, right? So there's no rule hard and fast that says transfer students can't come here, because we definitely have some. But because, like Professor Sopper was saying, because so many of our courses are designed to help students meet their general education requirements, because those are often something that students take in their first and second years of school, then sometimes what the classes we offer, which are a huge part of what we do, might not be as useful to transfer students. And so they may not find the program as appealing. That's not necessarily true for everyone. Some people just want to take the zombies course. And so then they say, I want to be part of this community, and they slide in and they're here till they're seniors. So it just sort of depends, but that's sort of the way that fits generally. Transfer students find that it's not as useful to them. So because of the gen ed nature of our program.
Yeah, it is definitely very much geared towards your first and second year students because of that general education ability.
But it doesn't preclude other students from coming. And some people, like I said, just want to be a part of it. So that's fine too.
Absolutely. Another question is if a student is asking, if I am undecided on a major, can I still be a part of a residential college?
100%. In fact, there's no better place, in my opinion, to explore ideas and figure out who you are and what interests you. And I'm sure Professor Stopper wants to add to that than an RC. Undecided, we love undecideds.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I think maybe some of the students might share, do you have any friends in residential college that are undecided or who have changed their major? We certainly don't expect you're going to stick with something necessarily that you start off with. So what's that like? Can you change your major in a residential college? Can you be undecided?
Yes, I actually have a very close friend of mine. I've been tugging at her to come on the communications boat with me. She's undecided at the moment, and being in a residential college, like we were talking about the different courses, they kind of dip your feet in a lot of different waters that span across a lot of different majors that you would want to consider. So I hope that you all want to become, whatever career path that you may be or that you would want to create for yourself, a residential college is the perfect place for you to discover that. And regardless of, the discouraging factors of being a part of residential college might be, there are no perfect places, but there are places perfect for people. So always remember that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's track the progression of my major changes. Let's see. I went from theater. Sarah's very familiar with this progression. So it went from theater to media studies to communication studies to photography, back to communication studies, and then back to media studies. So yeah, you can definitely change your major within a residential college.
And you know what? You get help doing it too, right? So here's something that we haven't really talked about, and I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, Trey, but when you decide to go change your major, you can go down to the office and talk to Miss Barton or talk to Dr. Flood and talk to Dr. Colonna and say, you know what, I don't know if I want to be a biology major anymore. I'm not really loving that biology class. And what are my other options? And you don't have to figure that out on your own. You have help. You have a dedicated advisor for the RC that helps you through navigate the sort of, as you say, the many waters, as Marcus pointed out, that you might dip your feet into. So that can be a kind of confusing journey. And it's nice to be able to bounce your ideas off of someone who really knows the process.
Definitely, yes. I can tell you that Dr. Chrissy Flood has this uncanny ability to look at you and to see you don't want to be a biology major. You want to do fill in the blank. She's just got that ability. I guess that's what you get from being an advisor for a long time. So Chrissy's got it down. Let's see. Oh, all right. So for any of our students that want to answer this, if you are in a residential college, are all of your classes held in that residence hall?
I think I'll jump on that. Mm-hmm. Not all of them are in the residential college, I will have to say. Because I'm a dual major, I have had a lot of classes that are outside of the residential college, but there is a certain number of them that will be in the residential college. And those are the kind of special classes that Marcus was talking about. So those are usually in the place where you live.
I might add on a little bit onto that and make sure that we cover the way the residential colleges are set up. I'm not sure that we said they are intended to be a 2-year program. So there is a kind of progression through them. The residential colleges offer core courses that are unique to each residential college, as well as courses that we share among the 3 residential colleges. All of these courses meet general education requirements at UNCG. But you certainly will take courses outside the residential college, as has been mentioned. It's not your entire college experience. But we do expect students to take courses with us for their first 2 years. So typically students will take courses, at least one course a semester in their first year. They can take as many as they like. But one of the things I want to say, and I think is really important that we mention, is the colleges also have a capstone experience in the sophomore year, where students typically complete their residential college experience through a project that they undertake, that's something that they create that speaks to them, and that sort of brings their first 2 years of college together around something significant to them. So students move through the core as freshmen, taking residential college courses, and then at the end of their sophomore year, they can do this capstone experience. So that's the sort of plan for the residential colleges. But again, you will take courses in the general campus as well as in the residential college.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I am either proud or ashamed to say that I was the very first capstone course. And Dr. Littlejohn will tell you how different it was and how different it is now for sure.
We had a small little group that year. We had 4 students.
It was just 4 of us. All
You guys were
righty.
great. We had a good time that semester.
We did. We figured it out. Let's see. One of our viewers is asking, what are the different ways to get to know other students within the RC? Are there different activities? I know we talked about committees before, but I think, Bethany, it's been a minute since we've heard from you. So what you got for us?
Yeah, I would love to take this question. So I know Ashby in specific has a ton of really cool programming opportunities, and that is the best way to make friends and get to know the people that you live with. We'll hold like fun events like art nights or game nights or movie showings. So all of those sort of events can help you get to know people. But the events that I think really aid in that the most are the big projects that take months and months of planning. Like I said before, we just finished up with Haunted House. So the past few months that we've been here, I've been on Zoom meeting new faces, and I didn't think it was going to be easy to meet the new freshmen coming in, especially with everything being virtual, but that wasn't the case whatsoever. And so it's really nice to have a group of people to plan with and organize with, and you're all working towards meeting the same goal. So that way you can really get to know each other really, really, really well.
Fantastic. Thank you. I can tell you that we are definitely getting some really good interactions from our viewers, because right now we've got one viewer. Their name is Oliver. Hi, Oliver. I saw you or heard from you on the other stream that we just finished, and Oliver is planning to apply to Ashby as soon as they finish their application. So good choice. We do have one final question that I want to ask our students, and then we will go back through the panel and just have everyone kind of recap for us. But for our students, how are some of the ways that you feel supported from other students, from faculty, from staff within the residential college? So anyone who wants to go can go for it.
So like I said earlier, we build these very, very strong relationships with each other, to where we can go to each other's room and hang out or things of that nature. But also going back to the last question you asked, the different events that we still hold and still have and still create during these times also give us a chance to meet other people and connect with other people. And just having that opportunity, especially in classes, having those very, very close and touchable and reachable moments with professors is very, very helpful and very, very needed and essential for us, especially being freshmen and sophomores, when we're still trying to figure out what we're trying to do, where we want to go, those goals. A lot of times we don't know what we really want to be, or we have those questions about, is this really what I want to do? And having both friends and professors and who have been around and know what's going on and can have the resources to help you with that, it's really, really helpful having that second input and people that have resources that can help you actually find what it is that you want to do, to help you find your purpose and the goals that you want to reach, is extremely helpful. And I do encourage you all to use residential colleges as the resources that are given there. We have a lot of resources here. Like Dr. Littlejohn said, it's a little college and a big college. So use all the resources and the education that you're given there to skyrocket you on the big campus.
Definitely, for sure. Any of our other students got anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'd love to add on to that. Um, I know the interactions that I have with the other students in the building are wonderful and I love making friends, but big emphasis on the staff interactions because obviously I can go to Dr. Flood's office and say, hey, these are the classes I want to take. Can you help me make my schedule? Or I can go to Littlejohn and ask advice about like on campus jobs and such. But it becomes a lot more personal than that the more time that you spend there. I know I had a time in the middle of the semester where I was having a really bad day, and I messaged Dr. Dotson and I said, "Hey, can I just hop on Zoom and vent to you for like 30 minutes?" And he was like, "Go ahead." Like, I love that. And so it really does feel like you're part of a family and you're really being taken care of. So it's much more than just the professional aspects and the programming aspects, and it can become really personal as well.
Fantastic. Jasmine, you got anything for us?
Yeah, totally. Just agreeing with Bethany, especially for me, I didn't really have any friends that were going to UNCG. So when I first entered the college, I was very nervous. But as I stayed with Strong College, and as many of you who do join residential colleges, you become more comfortable and you have that atmosphere of community. And you might even create your own family there, friends, professors, staff that you just enjoy spending time with and can really grow with. So that's, yeah.
Fantastic. Alrighty, friends. Well, we are coming to the close of our stream today, so I want to give our panelists one last opportunity to give their advice for any prospective students who are interested or applying to UNCG. So let's start the way that we began. So Dr. Littlejohn, I will ask, what is any piece of advice that you might give to a new Spartan?
Well, I'm not sure if it's necessarily just for new Spartans, but if you're considering coming to UNCG and the idea of a residential college appeals to you, one part we haven't really talked about is that obviously it's clear that you be a member of a community here, a small community, and there's a lot of benefits in that. But you are also part of a larger community. You're entering something that has gone on long before you and will continue to go on after you. So as you take your classes here today, if you become a member of our community, which we would love to have you, then you'd say, oh, I was in core class, and you could meet somebody in 15 years who graduated from Ashby or Strong or Grogan and say, I had core class. What did you guys study? Or, hey, I worked on T. Or, hey, haunted house. I mean, so you have these common experiences with people that are, you know, in Ashby's case, it's been around for 50 years. These people are in their 70s, right? And you have people that will be like, you know, 18 next year, right? And so the people like Trey has all the same things in common that now, even though it's been, you know, I don't know how many years, maybe 4 years since you were there, Trey, maybe 3 or 4. So those, you are part of something that's bigger than just you. You have this small community exactly why you're here, but then you're also part of a larger family. Once you leave, you kind of never leave. So if that appeals to you, then it's about fit, like Professor Supper says. See if you fit in here.
Fantastic. All right, Professor Sopper, what you got for us? Any advice that you would give?
Sure. I think that one of the things that we might want to talk about as students are thinking about going to college, maybe for the first time, if this is your first year, is that you're going to be making a transition as you go to college from a kind of schooling that maybe where a lot of the responsibility for what you wanted to learn and how you wanted to learn it and why it was important to you was taken care of by the teachers and by the school. You have to go to school all day, you have to take certain courses, they're structured for you. What changes big time in college is that shifts to become much more about you. What do you want to know? What are you curious about? What do you want? What impact do you want to have on the world? Where are you trying to go? Everybody's path through college is a little bit different based on who they are. So one of the things that has to happen for all of us is making that shift where we become really the drivers of our education. And Dr. Colonna, who teaches in Grogan College, likes to quote Adrienne Rich on this, who talks about claiming your own education. And I think that's something that you will go through. I think most students will go through who come to college, whether you're part of a residential college or not, that becoming the driver of your own destiny and the responsibility for that. What's nice about the residential colleges is you get to do that with people who are there to kind of encourage you and challenge you, but also support you in a very small environment. So I think I would say my advice is, begin now to prepare by thinking seriously about what you want to make college for yourself.
Definitely. Thank you, Professor Soper. And you definitely make it for yourself. All right. So in a few words, our students, Jasmine, what would you give, or what advice would you give to any potential Spartans?
I would say feed your curiosity. If there's something that has always interested you, don't be afraid to take a class on it. And if you don't like it in the first 2 weeks, you can always try a different class. It's not completely permanent for you. So that's what I would say. Feed your curiosity.
Very nice. Thank you. All right, Bethany, what you got for us?
Yeah, I think the biggest advice I can give is to be yourself and don't be afraid to step out of that comfort zone. And the residential college programs all can really help you do that. If you've never had the chance to be a leader or be the head of a program, then you can do that here. And you're in a safe environment in which you can test that out. And so I know I've learned so much about myself and had so much professional development since I've been here. And most of that is thanks to Ashby. So don't be afraid to be yourself.
Fantastic. All right. And Marcus, take us home. What you got for us?
The honest truth that I can give to each and every last one of you watching. If you are looking for a place, not just to stay, not just to call home, but a place that will root yourself in furthering your education and furthering your goals, please, 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 pretty please, with the cherry on top, look at the residential colleges. They will set you up for nothing but greatness.
Fantastic. Well, friends, it has been a wonderful time talking with all of you today, and I hope that we were able to help you out if you had any questions. If you do have any remaining questions, of course, you can still text us. We will be answering those, and we will be monitoring the chat in the YouTube, or on, ooh, Lord, y'all, I sounded old, on YouTube. I promise I'm maybe a millennial. I don't know.
Thanks for hosting. Very nice job.
Thank you. Alrighty. Well, if you do want to get a little bit more information about UNCG in general, or if you just want to check us out, go take a look at our custom view book, or give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, and we will be able to help you out. That's going to wrap us up for today. I hope we have helped you out throughout this experience, and we'll see you later. Bye, friends.
Bye.